Let me make sure it goes. And like I said, people will watch it live, but we also share it so people get to see and stuff like that. All right, perfect. So, all right, we're live. Again, thanks you guys for doing this. But so let's go ahead. We'll start in a circle just because I was kind of describing. We're basically telling your story. I mean, each of you has such a unique, interesting story as to how you got involved with the fight against sudden cardiac arrest and how you guys kind of became involved in who we play for in our lives and everything like that. So, Marianne, why don't you start? Kind of talk about what happened with you and your son, and then we'll go and we'll talk to the rest of you too.
Absolutely. So we actually got involved with who we play for 3 years ago now. My son was screened at Southeastern University, where he attends college, and we were told that he was a ticking time bomb. He had Wolff-Parkinson's-White syndrome. He's undergone 3 surgeries, the third one being successful. So now he is kind of forging forward and helping to raise the awareness for sudden cardiac arrest. As a family, we were completely blindsided. This was an individual that had played sports his entire life, and we were clueless. We had absolutely no idea. So, one of the things that I've talked about from the very beginning is that, in school, we test our children's eyes, we test our children's ears. The paper comes home from school, and as a parent, you need to sign off and give consent. Those are things that are not going to kill a child, but testing their heart can kill a child. So, why are we not testing something we can't see? So I guess because of the outcome of my child and the fact that we as a family were spared a situation that could have been so tragic, it's almost like I feel like it's a duty to get that message out there and help parents understand the importance of a simple heart screen. And this is what Who We Play For does. We had no idea who they were until we were in this situation. And then my son met Sean Seema at the VA. It was kind of a crazy story how we came to be a part of Who We Play For. But in the end, we're a part of this family, and we're going to fight this fight until everyone in the country understands how important this is. No family, no person should go through that tragedy of losing their child to sudden cardiac arrest with something that can be detected and avoided. So that's kind of how we got involved.
Absolutely. And by the way, Xavier's awesome. Such a
great
thank
kid.
He is so awesome. He came on our Speaking from the Heart video. I think it was like our second or third week. He was just, so eloquent in the way he was describing everything. Just what a good kid.
He's actually, it's almost like he's become like this spokesperson, for sudden cardiac arrest. And it's just come so naturally and so easy for him. So I'm thankful for that.
Yeah, absolutely. And he's
Thank you.
Like I said, very strong kid and things like that. Good kid.
Thank you.
Well, okay. So Connie, let's turn to you. You, again, we talk about strong people, a very strong woman who has had to go through a lot, because you have a very different story from her, but you also are in on this fight, just like everybody now with us. So talk a little about your story and your experience and how you kind of got involved.
Well, yes, mine is different. My son was playing high school football and had a heart attack and sudden death syndrome. And we couldn't save him, and I had to have him disconnected from life support. This happened many years ago, and I am so still angry with this world of the United States that we do not get all of our children tested. No parent should have to go through what I've gone through. There is no reason in this world today. A simple EKG would have saved my son's life. He was, like Marianne said about the boys were, active. They did sports. My son was very, very active. He did all kinds. He was playing soccer for time he was knee-high to a grasshopper, and very, very active. Football was just the first time that he was going to play football, and happened to lose his life on a football field. It's so disheartening to me today that we're still seeing news of young people losing their lives from sudden death syndrome. They don't have to. The parents, you need to know that you need to get your children EKGs. And who we play for does it so inexpensive. And we come to the schools and we go to the different fields. We're out there, we're trying to make everybody aware of this. And these young people need to live, not have to do this. And I don't want any other parent to have to suffer like I've had to suffer. Um, you know, one minute you think you're strong, and the next minute you can be at your knee again. And nobody has to go through this. And I got involved with this when my son's classmates had their 20th class reunion, and one of their soccer coaches now, he's in Tallahassee, and he was one of my son's soccer kids that they played together, and he couldn't get into the schools. And they wanted to use Chip's name, and they found me on Facebook after all these years, and now we're on Facebook talking about this. So for young men, there was 2 of them that decided that they were going to find me and use Chip's name to get into the school. It came out on a Thursday, and on Monday who we play for had a meeting with them. So it's amazing how difficult it is to get into the schools.
Yeah, it really is. And so, if you don't mind me asking, I mean, what year did your son pass away?
28 years ago next month.
28 years ago. I mean, so back 28 years ago, was there ever discussion, do you remember hearing about like sudden cardiac arrest in athletes or anything like this?
No, there had been just very little bit. There had been a couple, but not anything. Back then, they just didn't talk about it too much. I know we changed a lot. I worked very hard at changing some rules in our county, and thought I was doing a great job. But when I found who we play for, I realized I wasn't doing a good job. So I've been involved with them for a little over 3 years now. And it was on my son's 25th anniversary death that I got involved with who we play for.
Well, I'm glad you guys got involved. I mean, like you've probably seen in, Brevard County and just across the state now, it definitely takes a village.
Oh yeah, most
definitely. Change. You know what I mean?
When I met Xavier and Marianne and Jim, her husband, and that, I mean, I just cried for days because I met a young man that was saved because of who we play for. And it just, I don't know, we've just hit it off so well. The family and I have just embraced each other. I mean, we're across the state, but we're working together to save lives.
Yeah, absolutely. Perfect. Well, we'll get into just a second. We'll get to, what you guys have been working on, because it's exciting. Josh, let's talk about your story. You have a very unique perspective also, that a firsthand perspective on how you kind of became involved in this and, took on this fight too. Why don't you talk a little bit about what happened to you and then how, it kind of changed your outlook on things?
Well, yes, Molly. How this all started was I actually had heart issues when I was diagnosed when I was 1 year and 6 months. And all through my life, I've just been dealing with, I had 3 open heart surgeries to replace 2 valves that back then were so deformed they couldn't be repaired. So I had 3 surgeries to get those replaced, and I replaced them with plastic valves, and the ones I got installed from when I was 10 are actually still functioning very well today. I actually just got a appointment over at the doctor a few months ago. But anyway, right around the time I was like probably 13-ish, they started to notice the rhythm was kind of going off a bit. And I went to like a rhythm specialist, and he said, "You're going to need a pacemaker put in." So right around, it was actually like January 4th, 2006. I remember the day. I was going out to the yard to play football with my friends, and at the MCC courtyard. We were just about to run a play, and according to eyewitnesses, I just fell down on the floor. And fortunately, the trainer, who was a teacher at the time, was in her office, and she was tending to students. And people were screaming to go get her. My mom was on scene, and she was performing CPR on me, and she was starting chest compressions when the ambulance got to me, and they were able to get me stabilized eventually. And then I woke up probably about 5 days later in the ICU in Orlando. So it's like Marianne said, they just found out Xavier had an issue when they screened him. I knew I had the issue going way back, and I knew this was going to be a problem. So they knew I was high risk. And even throughout my childhood, like when I would play sports or go outside, everyone would know, like, he's got heart issues, he's got to be careful. But I mean, what's hard about that is even knowing everything they knew back then, they still couldn't save me from cardiac arrest happening to me. Now, as to why I got involved in the organization, about a year later, that's when Rafe had his incident. And then when I heard about it, I couldn't help but feel a sense of just shame and guilt. And I felt like if I had died on that day, then maybe he didn't have to. So I was apprehensive to join for years. And then I met Evan about 5 years ago, but I was still dealing with my own issues. And then the new year came, and I kind of realized, okay, my issues have stabilized enough to where there's not a problem, constantly needing to be fixed. Maybe there's something I can do or say to help these kids who have been diagnosed and don't know where to go. I mean, unlike you guys, and I'm not trying to, I'm not trying to, be critical or anything, but having heart issues since I was so young, and then having cardiac arrest happen to me, I mean, it was almost like I was numb to it. It was just like, okay, yeah, this is just another something to add to the book. It wasn't like a life-changing event. I mean, it probably did a 180 at best, but nevertheless, I know when people are diagnosed with any heart condition, it's life-changing. But in my case, it was just like, oh, it's just something else I got to deal with. But yeah, and that's why I joined the organization, is to talk to the kids who have been screened, because there wasn't a lot of people I knew to go to. And hopefully throughout this, I can be someone they go to and say, look, I went through everything you went through, and you don't need to, feel like you're the only one in the world without it, because I'm right here for you.
Absolutely. That's right. And I think that's actually something that's really needed. I mean, just talking to people who have gone through this, and I think maybe Marianne, you can kind of comment on this, but when I was talking even to like Sean Seema, they went through this with Lexi. They were like, "You get the news," and then it's what now? I mean, it's like, how do we even?
Exactly. I mean, I think for us together as a family, and Xavier was the one, I think, that just kind of bounced back so quickly. It happened, and he just, kind of was mopey for a couple of weeks, but then he's like, okay, now what am I going to do?
Now I got to go.
And as a family, since we'd been on a football field since the boy was 6, we were all ready to go to college football games. We had all the garb, we had the t-shirts, the visors, the hats, we were ready. And we got stopped in our tracks by the grace of God, and like I said, just how we got introduced to the SEMAs, I mean, that's a whole story. Xavier, at his second surgery, had an assignment in a biology class to get some shadowing time with some medical professionals. So he ended up at the VA in Vieira with one of Sean's colleagues, not even Sean. And after Xavier had shadowed at the VA for about 3 days, the guy took him around the VA, and he said, hey, this is Sean, an orthopedic PA. And Sean stuck his hand out, and he said, Xavier Hendrix from Southeastern University. I mean, it was like he had met a god or something, and Xavier stepped back like, oh my God, how do you know my name? How do you know who I am? And as it turns out, Sean and Stacy Seema go to church with my son's original freshman roommate in college.
That is so
He asked the congregation to pray for the boy because he'd been diagnosed with this thing, and Sean remembered his name, and it just,
Sean,
it was,
Sean knows those stats.
it was like a God thing because months had gone by, you know, we didn't know
great.
about who we play for. So anyway, just to, you know, speak about what you get on the bandwagon and you're like, okay, what's next? What's next? So I think that's how Connie and I, you know, kind of sat back and said, okay, where do we go from here?
Exactly.
So-
That's what I'm going to ask you guys. So let's talk about this Agents for Change now. So
Absolutely.
why don't you guys both, I mean, play off each other however you feel you want your roles or whatever to be. But talk about where you guys kind of came up with this idea.
Well, I think it was just kind of born, you know, sitting there, both being parents from both ends of the spectrum, right? So we have a parent of a survivor, we have a parent of a non-survivor, both in the same situation, both knowing that as moms, you would do anything in your power to protect your child, but you only know what you know. So, you know, people don't know about this issue to the degree of it being some, oh, not my kid, oh, not my child. You can't say that because it could be any child. And so I think this Agents for Change kind of came about to be able to scream from the rooftops, you know, get in front of any sense of media or on a stage at a school, whatever we need to do to just bring this to light and appease and appeal to parents, you know, help them realize how simple this could be. Don't say no, don't opt out. This is your kid and it's $20,
Right.
you know, or it's $35 or whatever it chooses to be. It's worth any amount of money to make that happen. So, you know, in the Urban Dictionary defines change agent as someone who, or someone or something that wants to bring about change, kind of a catalyst, if you will. Okay, that's what a change agent is. We can take the awareness of sudden cardiac arrest and just push it forward. And that's kind of the plan, you know, whatever opportunity we have to get in front of people to raise sudden cardiac awareness and help to eradicate sudden cardiac death, that's what we're here to do. That's what God has on my heart, and that's where that difference is going to be made.
Yeah, that's how Marianne and I got together and thought about doing this, is because we want to speak as to many people as we can. We want to get in front of as many people as we can, doing any speaking engagements we can get in front of. The more people that we can talk to and let know about this, the better off the world will be, and we'll save more lives.
Absolutely.
All right, and Josh, so I guess talk a little about, you know, what do you, obviously you're one of the Agents for Change too. I mean, so are you going to take it as your role will be like talking to parents, or will you be more so talking to the athletes who just got, you know, the news that they have, you know, a heart condition or something?
Well, Molly, I think there's a lot of layers to this, and I think the organization, I know it's an athletic organization, but I think we need to think beyond it. I think we need to go. I even talked to Evan a few weeks ago and saying, look, the kids that are doing PE classes, even though they're not athletes, they're susceptible to having this too, you know. And I want to speak to Marianne and Connie as far as you know, mothers go. My mother definitely kept calm and kept cool, and that's how I was able to not lose it. You know, the kids really do feed off the energy you give. So when you get a bad diagnosis like that or something like that, you guys kind of have to try your best to stay calm, because we do feed off that energy. And if you're balling or breaking down, it just makes it worse for us. So, but to your point, I'm trying to get everyone to think beyond just athletics. I mean, like I said about kids that are in PE classes, you know, kids that are on the recess yard. But yes, so as someone who grew up with this, I mean, this is a lot of what I know, you know, and when someone gets a diagnosis like this turns their world upside down. And I can just hopefully try to just tell them, you know, look, you're not going to get this overnight, because I still don't even have all the answers. But what I can do is I can help guide you, and we can, we can learn about this, and we can learn different ways to deal with it. One of the ways I dealt with, because Connie and Marianne, your sons were both football players. I wanted to play football at the high school level too, but that obviously got derailed in the most public way possible. So what actually happened was, when I got out of the hospital, the head coach of MCC at the time said, "Why don't you come on and be a manager?" And I said, "Okay." I did my first game and I loved it. And then I stayed on and I eventually became an assistant coach. And I stayed there for like 10 years. And
that's awesome.
it was just one of the best things I feel I can do, and knowing that those kids are more susceptible in football practice when it's heat and all that humidity and stuff like that. Just trying to watch out for them, but just letting kids know who have had it, look, I'm here for you. We can figure this out together, and maybe I can learn something from you that I don't know the answer to myself.
Absolutely perfect. Well, you guys are all doing amazing work. Yes, and that's a great picture of him, Connie.
Yeah, it is.
That is an awesome picture. I love that.
Thank you.
Perfect. Well, you guys are doing amazing work. I mean, it's going to be really interesting to see how this all progresses and who all you guys are able to reach and things like that. I think you guys all have really different and, powerful roles. So we're really excited to start doing this with you guys. So our last question, since I don't want to keep you guys all night, although I'm sure we could all keep talking about this all night because we're all pretty passionate. We're all pretty passionate about it, but I will have to cut it a little bit. Our last question we always like to ask everybody is, who do you play for? Obviously that's our name and it's the purpose behind everything we do in our fight. So let's just kind of go Marianne and then Connie and then Josh again, just kind of talk about who you play for.
So I think, just to kind of wrap up a little bit about the change agents, I just had one more thing to say. It's about carrying forth the message. We don't know what this is going to morph into, but I'm hopeful that anyone that has a story to share that wants to be seen and heard, lets us know. Reach out on the website and let us know how you can be a piece of this, because this is bigger than any of us. And who I play for, I think I play for all the kids and definitely all the parents that need to be screened, and for anybody that has lost their life. It makes me shudder to think that that's happening. And I just want to play for all of those people.
Okay, perfect. What about you, Connie?
I play for everybody. What Marianne just said was really breathtaking, but I play for Chip.
And Josh, what about you?
I play for not just the kids who discover they have heart problems. I play for the kids who already have the heart problems, who are trying to make it through life and they don't quite have all the answers and they don't know how to navigate it. I'm here for them. I'm here for them. I want to help them, and hopefully we can help each other.
Okay, perfect. Well, that was it. You guys all did amazing.
Thanks,
Perfect.
Molly.
So, like I said, it was on Facebook Live the whole time. And then if you guys want to share it, send it to whoever, feel free. The link will stay up there on the Facebook page. And
Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hopefully get to meet you guys all in person one day. We'll see whenever the pandemic ends.
All right.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks so much.
All right,
Thank
thank
you
you.
so much, Josh, for being here.
Yeah,
Thank
no
you.
problem. Thank you guys.
All right.
Get
bye.
it together. Bye.